there, I'm CJ and I am one half of Busy Bees, and I am here today to sort of talk about what's going on with my breast reduction surgery. As I mentioned in our intro video, I have been on this journey for about 4 years now. It started when I was 24 or 25 and I was preparing for that big transition that happens in the US at 26 when you lose access to your parents' insurance. And so not really knowing what was going to be going on with insurance after that point, I realized that this was a great opportunity for me to try to get the reduction surgery that I had been thinking about for a while. I have been interested in this reduction surgery for a while because I am agender. And this basically means that I don't identify as male or female. I just identify as myself, and myself doesn't fit with one gender or the other. I tend to dress primarily fairly femininely, and I tend to be perceived as being a girl, and generally I'm fairly okay with that because I realize that a lot of those sort of perceptions are about other people and they're not about me. But at the same time, I have been uncomfortable with my chest for a very long time. Part of that, and this is the part that I sort of addressed when I was going through the first set of surgery prep, has to do with the fact that my chest is just very large for my body. I am currently a 34G, which is almost impossible to find outside of specialty stores, and those are very expensive. It causes a lot of pain. I have costochondritis, which is an inflammation of the cartilage in and around your ribs and your breastbone. And this causes pain, and this is exacerbated by the weight of my chest. I have dealt with breathing problems, back problems, shoulder problems, pretty much since puberty. And that means that I thought I had a really great chance to convince my insurance company that this was something that I needed. At the same time, I decided not to bring up at that point, the fact that I didn't identify as a woman. Because I thought, there's no way an insurance company, which is notoriously not great for this stuff, is going to understand that weird in-between place of I want to get rid of most of my chest, but I'm not a dude. As it turned out though, they didn't understand the pain thing either. It was a huge blow. As it turned out, the second surgeon that I talked to ended up telling me point blank that there was no way my insurance company was going to cover my surgery, because despite the amount of pain that I was in and that I was dealing with on an almost daily basis, I just wasn't big enough for them to cover it. I have to say, I really appreciate her telling me that, because my first surgeon didn't tell me anything. She just went ahead with it and set me up for the pre-op appointment, and I had no idea that I wasn't gonna get covered. So fast forward a few years, Meg and I start dating and get married, and she tells me, knowing how much this means to me and how much this has sort of been in the back of my head since I first got denied, that whatever it takes, someday we will get this done, even if we have to pay for it out of pocket, which was a huge relief to me. She's been so supportive through this whole process, and that means the world to me. However, it looks like we don't have to pay for it out of pocket, because my insurance through my employer actually had the language that sort of made it sound like maybe you didn't have to be transitioning to being a guy to actually qualify for reduction surgery. And specifically, it said reduction or reconstruction. And the difference between these is reduction is just reducing the amount of tissue, whereas reconstruction is actually flattening the chest and going for a masculine look. So I realized I don't want that. I kind of want to still have something approximating breasts, but I want them to be small enough that if I'm not feeling like having them on a given day, I can wear a binder and nobody will know, and that'll be cool. So I reached out to my primary care physician and went over all of the insurance stuff with her, and she's fantastic. My doctor is at Whitman Walker, which is one of the biggest queer health centers in the country. They were hugely involved in the HIV/AIDS crisis and have ever since then been a huge supporter of the community. And my doctor was able to set me up with this whole pipeline that they have in terms of getting the documentation that's necessary for a surgery like this to be covered. So I met with my doctor, I met with a social worker for like 3 sessions to go over not only how I felt about the surgery, but how I felt about my gender, how I felt about my body, how I was doing with my mental health, everything, so that she would be able to write a letter to my surgeon that would then enable my surgeon to talk to my insurance company and get it approved. Finally, at the end of all of this, I had an appointment with a surgeon earlier this year and just got the notice about a week or 2 ago that my surgery has been approved. It's a little over a week and a half before I will be going through this crazy process, and I honestly couldn't be happier. I'm supremely nervous. Of course, it is major surgery, and I am going to be out of work for 2 weeks and not able to do any sort of physical activity for 6 weeks. But I have been waiting for this and sort of putting so much hope into this for so long that actually being able to move forward with it is such a blessing and so wonderful. So thank you so much for listening. I will definitely be back in the future to talk more about this process, my prep for the surgery, and then afterwards how I'm doing and what is going on. But for now, I'm going to leave it at that, and thank you so much. If you want to hear more about our journey as a family and my journey as somebody going through this surgery, please subscribe and click the little bell button so that you actually get notifications. And if you have been through this, have any advice, I would love to hear it. Please add it in the comments, and I will talk to you all later. Bye!